Are you one of those people who believes that things happen for a reason, that life has purpose? Whether you have stories about that or not, perhaps you were raised in a particular religion or ethnic background that has, rituals and ideas about, what life is, the theories of life. I was raised Catholic, and I never felt comfortable in that. I took things from it. Specifically, I remember the teachings of Jesus because that was really big. I went to a private Catholic school for a while, so I went to church a lot. And then after I left that, I went to catechism, and I was supposed to get confirmed, but I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't lie. And actually got into a physical fight with my dad over it. But I'm like, you can't force me to make a promise. Like, I can't. I'm not going to do that. So at 15, I stopped being Catholic. And I didn't care. I didn't need to be agnostic or atheist, or I didn't need to define that part of myself. And that's something I've always that I've never understood about people, like why they need to define that. Like, isn't that just a process of discovery? Like, I don't inherit that from you. That's a belief, that's a connection, that's something like that comes from inside to out, right? Anyway, so I do feel that life has purpose, and I feel that because of the experiences I've had through my life and how I've navigated it and sailed it and how my life has gone. It's been a very independent life. The genesis of that is that there was a lot of suffering. There was a lot of difficulty. I was not born into what I would call an easy life, but I didn't identify with that. I just felt like I had to get through it. I really did, always. And I did. And then pretty much by the time I was 18, I was on my own, definitely on my own by the time that I was almost 21. And from there, just, lived my life. I did get married. And we had kind of an arrangement. Like, we loved each other and we were, into each other. But I got married because for the same reason everybody wants to get married, I think, is because you get better benefits. It makes it a little easier, or it did. And I needed to go to school, and anyway, whatever. So, that was like the reason to get married. And we made an agreement that in 10 years, if we hadn't already broken up, that we would get a divorce. And 10 years came and went, and he was like, do you want to get a divorce on our 10-year wedding anniversary? I was like, no. Like, what's the point? We're having fun living in LA, doing all this stuff. Anyway, I went on a journey, like a 20 plus year journey in California, more than that if you count New Mexico, like over 25 years of a journey, of a life, of careers, of exploration, of healing, friendships, travel, great times. And then I landed somehow as a Chinese medical professional working in Los Angeles, working with some of the best healers. Like, I knew how great it was, but it's not since I left in 2020 because of COVID that I really understand what I had and how special it was. And it's just something that I get for myself, like, I'm the holder of that life and of that experience and of all of the amazing things that I got to have. So I had a practice. I've been working on my own, with my own license since 2012 in LA, and then COVID hit, and I've been on this wild journey ever since, okay? But I was in Beverly Hills. I was in the thick of it. I had a kid. Like, I was 45 when COVID hit, and had a life, was like, everything was good. I had gotten a divorce, was newly divorced, so like kind of new to the world. Been married for 23 years at that point with the same person for 25. Life was good, and I was about to have a fresh start. I ended 2019 by going to Zihuatanejo, Mexico. Zihuatanejo, Mexico, and had a great time. Did a yoga retreat. It was amazing. Came back, felt the dark clouds rolling in, and COVID hit. Boom. So fast forward, a lot happened. A lot happened. Lots. Most of it because of TikTok. I wasn't online before that. I just had a medical practice, and then I had a baby. So that was my life. And then my ex-husband was out of the picture. And now I live in Vermont. I live in the hills of Vermont. So in 6 years, it's like I time transported. I have nothing from my old life. A few trinkets, some clothes, but I got rid of everything at one point. And everything's gotten real quiet. So I went from a really busy, active, connected, full life to a very, very, like, very quiet, very solitude, monk-like life, except for when I'm hollering at my 10-year-old. But I know for a fact that monks holler and get mad and lose their tempers. They're still humans. I know it for a fact. If you're shocked. As one of my professors said, you know, you may look up to me, you may think that I'm above you, but if we're here and we have bodies, we're all doing the same thing. We all have the same karma. We're here to learn. We're here to experience, you know, what we're here to experience, how, like, you know. But I do believe in a purpose, and I'm for some reason being given all this space and time to observe, to listen, to watch, to see. Not the news. I'm a good reader. I'm a good absorber. I don't really need, like, I have a different kind of a brain, so I can pick up information in a way that isn't traumatizing to me. And I have lots of systems of organization in my mind that I use that for. But basically, my life is Chinese medicine. It's my son. I have a few friends on my phone. But that's not enough to fill up an entire life, especially if somebody like me who used to run my own business and live in Los Angeles and run around with my friends and raise my kid and go to the parks and go to art museums and, you know, go to the beach and whatever I wanted to do. Let's go take a trip, you know. And now I'm in the hills and everything is up to me. If I meditate, if I do yoga, if I take care of my body, if I eat right, if I feel good, if I'm happy, if I'm sad, how I take care of my emotions, like, there's nobody. And it might sound sad, but it's not. My life path has been very different than other people's. I haven't gotten lost in my trauma or my sickness. I've found myself through it. I found myself through this process of loss. And it really is true what they say, that the more you heal, the more you know yourself, the lonelier it gets. And that's not a bad thing. I think we think of loneliness as bad. It can be hard. But when you're filling up your inside, you're also not looking for as much. Do you know what I mean? You don't need as much. And I'm just watching everybody in their own ways really struggle and suffer and grieve and just dealing with a lot of thick, heavy energies. And I can't explain to you my whole path. I don't know my whole path. I don't claim to understand it, but I do see the patterns, and I do see that I need to remind you that we have to get through this moment and this day. So I keep hearing people talk about, why aren't we? Why aren't we? It's like shoulding. We're shoulding. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you're not noticing patterns that are problematic in our society. Our society is very numbed out. There's a reason that, you know, alcohol and drugs of all sorts and plant medicine, and that these things are so big in the United States, right? And we're all addicted to sugar, and we're pre-diabetic. We have metabolic syndrome. We are diabetic, like chronic pain, chronic illness, right? We're distracted. We're broke. We're overworked. We're spiritually empty. We're indebted to everyone and everything. And they're, you know, perpetuating psychological warfare. So give yourself a break, slow down, unplug from the system as much as you can. That's what I'm here to say. That's my purpose today. Okay. We can do it. We just have to come together. Community. You're going to keep hearing about it.